For nearly 70 years, we looked up at the night sky and saw a sanctuary. It was a domain of exploration, science, and commerce, a place where military assets watched silently from above but never pulled the trigger. But that era is dead. The year 2025 marks the definitive inflection point in human history. The sanctuary is gone. Space has fully matured into a warfighting domain, a battlefield just as dangerous and just as active as the land, sea, and air below. To understand the gravity of this shift, we have to look beyond the headlines. Exhaustive analysis of military budgets, classified doctrines, and operational incidents throughout 2024 and 2025 reveals a terrifying truth. The global security environment has deteriorated into a bleak peace. The guardrails that once prevented conflict in orbit have collapsed. We are no longer watching a race for prestige. We are witnessing a race for the ultimate high ground. The major powers, the United States, China, and Russia, are now locked in a trilateral security dilemma. It is a dangerous spiral where one nation's defensive maneuver is seen as an offensive threat by the others. This has triggered an accelerating arms race involving nuclear anti-satellite weapons, autonomous dogfighting spacecraft, and massive missile defense architectures like the controversial Golden Dome. But who are the players driving this conflict? It starts with a new, hardened axis of power. Russia, weakened by the attrition of the war in Ukraine, has adopted the strategy of the spoiler. Moscow knows it cannot compete economically with the massive satellite constellations of the West. Instead, the Russian Aerospace Forces have focused on high-yield, asymmetric weapons designed to deny space access to everyone else. Their doctrine is one of coercion. They believe that by threatening to blind U.S. precision strike capabilities, they can level the playing field in a war on Earth. In stark contrast, China is the challenger. Beijing views space superiority as the cornerstone of its national strategy for information dominance. By mid-2025, China was operating nearly 1,200 satellites, a staggering 900% increase in just a decade. But this isn't just about numbers. It is about the kill chain. China has built a Skynet of surveillance satellites designed to track U.S. aircraft carriers continuously, aiming to push the American Navy out of the Pacific. The United States has responded with a strategy called competitive endurance. The U.S. Space Force has abandoned the idea of protecting a few large, expensive satellites. Instead, they are building resilient architectures, swarms of hundreds, even thousands of small satellites. The logic is brutal but effective. If an enemy shoots down 10 satellites, the network instantly reroutes data, making the attack tactically useless. But the weapons being developed to break these networks are no longer theoretical. The most alarming development of 2025 is the sword of Damocles hanging over low Earth orbit, Russia's nuclear anti-satellite program. Intelligence on the Cosmos 2553 satellite suggests it is a testbed for a nuclear device. If detonated, it wouldn't use a blast wave. It would generate a massive electromagnetic pulse, creating a trapped radiation belt around the Earth. This would fry the electronics of unhardened commercial satellites, like Starlink, indiscriminately. It is a weapon that holds the entire global economy hostage. While nuclear weapons are the ultimate threat, the day-to-day reality of 2025 is the era of orbital dogfighting. Space is no longer static. Satellites are maneuvering, stalking, and engaging one another. In March 2025, U.S. Space Force officials revealed that 5 Chinese satellites were observed engaging in synchronized maneuvers, drifting in and out of formation to simulate combat. We've also seen the rise of the Stalker. Russian satellites, known as the Luch-Olymp class, have become notorious for parking directly next to Western commercial satellites in geostationary orbit, intercepting their signals in an act of close reconnaissance that would be considered an act of war if it happened with ships at sea. The United States has its own ghosts in the machine. The X-37B spaceplane, a reusable robotic spacecraft, executed a novel aerobraking maneuver in early 2025. By dipping into the Earth's atmosphere, it changed its orbit using drag rather than fuel, effectively disappearing from adversary radar and reappearing on a completely different trajectory. It is a capability that forces enemies to expend vast resources just trying to figure out where the threat is. This war isn't waiting for a declaration. It is already being fought in the gray zone, the shadowy area between peace and total war. In late 2024, China's Shenlong spaceplane deployed 6 unidentified objects, wingmen, that began emitting military-grade signals. In October 2025, a Russian stalker satellite maneuvered into a graveyard orbit after extracting months of data from Western targets. And perhaps most disturbingly, the Intelsat 33E satellite fragmented into a cloud of debris. Was it a battery failure? Or was it a cyber attack or a microwave weapon test? In the silence of space, the victim often cannot prove they were attacked. Behind closed doors, black budgets are fueling massive secret projects. Rumors swirled throughout 2025 regarding Golden Dome, a planetary-scale missile defense shield. Modeled on Israel's Iron Dome, but positioned in orbit, this project aims to track and intercept hypersonic missiles using space-based interceptors. At the same time, the US is militarizing commercial space through the Starshield program, merging the private sector's speed with the Pentagon's power. But the speed of this new warfare is outpacing human reaction times. This has led to the AI singularity in orbit. In October 2025, German researchers successfully demonstrated the first fully AI-controlled maneuver in space. Future satellites will use Edge AI to autonomously duck incoming lasers or missiles without waiting for orders from Earth. This creates the terrifying risk of flash wars, where opposing AI algorithms interpret a movement as an attack and escalate to full-scale conflict in the milliseconds before a human commander can even spill their coffee. However, the ultimate enemy in Space Wars 2025 is not a nation. It is physics. We are standing on the precipice of the Kessler Syndrome. The density of objects in low Earth orbit has reached critical mass. Every kinetic attack, every exploded satellite, creates a shotgun blast of shrapnel that stays in orbit for decades. Recent breakups of Chinese rocket stages and commercial satellites have added thousands of pieces of lethal junk to the environment. A full-scale space war would be an environmental crime of the highest order. It wouldn't just destroy military targets, it would trap humanity on Earth, locking us behind a barrier of flying debris and ending the space age for generations. Thank you.